All right, so welcome everyone to the SIG release meeting for February 27th, almost Leap Day edition. For anybody who's not aware of it, this meeting is governed by the Kubernetes Code of Conduct, which boils down to be awesome to each other. And this meeting will be recorded and is being recorded and will be posted to the public internet. So be mindful of what you do and say. So before we start, please add your names. I'm going to share the link to the agenda in the chat. So please add your names to the agenda to record your participation. If anybody wants to help taking notes, that would be really appreciated. And before we start, I think we have mostly familiar faces, but if anybody wants to say hi, this is your first time at the SIG release meeting, or you would like to say what your purpose is, what your interest is in with SIG release, feel free to do so.
I don't normally join this meeting because it conflicts with other meetings, but I can say hi. I'm Mark Rossetti. I'm the branch manager for 130. I've been doing a little bit of the release cuts for the releases and everything. I think I know most of you.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. Yeah, we're happy that you're here. All right, then if anybody wants to say hi, feel free to do so, and then otherwise you can just hear, and then at other times it's fun too. All right. All right, so let's start with the sub-project updates. Does anybody want to do an update for the batch releases of a section of release engineering?
I don't think that we have major updates at this point. Like patch releases for February went out, and for March, we are still 2 weeks away from the cherry pick deadline, I think, and 2.5 weeks away from the release. So yeah, stay tuned. And if you have any cherry picks, prefer to fill them in. And just as a reminder for folks that you in general don't need to ping us about cherry picks. Like we start a week before the cherry pick deadline and like go through all the cherry picks that have like the criteria satisfying, like HTM approved, passing tests, and stuff like that. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, thanks, Marco. That's a very good point. Yeah, we usually, since this is all volunteer driven, so we try to do the best effort on trying to merge those cherry picks as early as we can, but as is often the case, they tend to get approved later in the cycle. All right, so next up is an update for OBS. I don't know if there's anything going on there.
No updates at the moment.
Okay. Next up, by the way, if anyone has any questions on what these sub projects are, or has any questions or wants to know anything, feel free to interrupt, and then we can explain a little bit more. All right, around the supply chain security. Anybody wants to do an update there? Probably I usually take those, but I've been out for like a month. But if anybody has any update on there, let's do it. Yeah, I guess not at the moment. All right, so on the artifact validation front, I think Sasha would be the person to talk about that. Marco, do you have any updates on that?
Yeah, I can go ahead about it. So we are preparing to do a survey about the artifact validation. It has been on, let's say, on hold for a little bit because I have been busy and I volunteered to take care of some technical stuff. I hope to do it tomorrow, let's say, today or tomorrow. And then we will publish it, and we will work with Contribix.coms and CSCF to publish the survey to as broad an audience as possible. I will share some links in the Zoom chat about the survey for folks that didn't have a chance to see it. This is probably like the final call for any feedback, and the feedback is very appreciated. So you can take a look, you can try to fill it out. We are perhaps going to remove all answers before officially like putting the survey in production, so you can fill whatever you want. And like if you want to test the survey, and that's mostly it. Let's hope that we can do like a soft publish later this week and like do the announcements beginning of next week. So yeah, that we don't get like too much into the KubeCon, and that we have it up and running before KubeCon.
Do you know how many answers has the survey gotten so far?
0 because we didn't share it. It's still work in progress.
Oh, okay. I thought it was okay, cool. Any questions for Marco about the survey that's going on? All right. Okay, so I guess that wraps it up for the release engineering update section. Any questions overall for release engineering before we move to the release team? All right. Okay, so next up, release team. Kat, do you want to do an update?
Sure do. Hi. So the comms team, first of all, has 17 feature blogs this time around, which is a lot. It's not the most we've ever had, but it is quite a lot. So there will be a little bit of a modification to the way we typically release blogs after a release. We usually try to do only like 2 a week, but with 17 blogs, that is too many to do that. We monopolize the blog for too long. So they are probably going to have to release like 4 a week to not take it over, but that is okay. We'll send out a state of the release email tomorrow, which includes a reminder that code freeze is next week, and yet another reminder about the impending docs freeze. So we're trying to over communicate that and make sure that nobody has an excuse to say that they didn't know that we were doing that this time. But the last docs deadline did complete with not much drama. People do tend to kind of drag their feet on that one, but that's okay. Everybody got across the line, and everybody seems happy. As Mark noted earlier, we are currently cutting Alpha 3. There are a couple of issues that we decided were non-blocking for an alpha, but one of them that does have an open PR is being kind of slowed down by inactive maintainers from SIG cloud providers, though that is being also chased down, but it's slow, obviously. We're going to make sure that is resolved before code freeze. I'm showing up for the SIG cloud providers meeting tomorrow to shake people down for a PR review. That's it. That's all I've got for updates. We are cruising.
Nice, awesome. Yeah, I hope if anybody can link that PR in the
Yeah, I
agenda
absolutely
would
can.
be. I'm also gonna add something about the.
There you go. This PR.
All right. Okay. Anybody has any questions for Cat or the release team, or Sumark as the release, the branch manager? Okay, well, yeah, that's thanks. Yeah, thanks for linking the VR there. It's so that we can track and that we have some record that we're on top of it.
Oh, the issue with Easy CLA is resolved. They finally merged the fix. So Easy CLA no longer misbehaves with the large PRs, and the docs team no longer has to do twice weekly branch syncs.
All right. All right. So let's move to the open discussion items. First up from Jeremy.
Hey everybody. So we used to only have one meeting and it was bi-weekly, but we also had a release engineering meeting that was the following week. So we kind of ping pong back and forth on those things. And then we decided to add a second meeting, which is this time slot, and smush the release engineering meeting into the regular SIG release meeting. So now we've got alternating weeks, times are different. We don't seem to get a huge attendance. And I think of the folks on this call, at least half of them are probably not in the US and this is like not a super awesome time for them. So I wanted to just propose that maybe we revisit that decision. We go back to bi-weekly meetings. We don't have a ton of agenda items every week either. I think things that are important we can handle asynchronously when they show up. But I think if we go to bi-weekly meetings at the time that's more friendly to Europe and other parts of the non-US sphere of things, just might be more sustainable going forward. So I just wanted to float that idea. We can send it out to SIG release, see how folks feel about that. But just wanted to raise the topic.
Yeah,
Any-
I mean,
Any
for
strong
me,
objections from folks here?
So, yeah, Marco?
No, go ahead first. You are first.
No, I was just going to say that the cadence of meetings responds typically to the work that's being done. So usually, for example, when the last big batch of work was probably the OBS work, and when you're working on those projects, it's useful to have those meetings because you can come back and discuss the ideas and resolve things quickly. But depends on the work being done. That's my. And right now, I feel we're coming down from the OBS work to a little bit of slump. Probably we'll rearrange some things at KubeCon and replan and regroup, and then start new efforts probably in the upcoming months. But so I don't have an opinion just yet. So could be that right now changing the cadence could be something we regret if we start new projects, but it depends on everybody's availability and on the work being done after KubeCon, I guess. Marco?
I actually wanted to say the same as Adolfo, just in a little bit different words. Like, we plan to again ramp up with the OBS work and to start the artifact validations work and to maybe start some other supply chain security related stuff. Like, we have a lot of work that is actually planned. Hopefully, we are planning to start it soon. And with that, I think that weekly meetings are actually going to be very beneficial, because we would be able to cycle and talk about stuff. And like, for 2 weeks, it's actually quite a lot, and not having a chance to talk to folks might be like a blocking factor and not something that is very nice. It is doable, but not very nice, in my opinion. One thing that I would personally like to see is that I think that we had that in the past, maybe 2 or 3 years ago or something like that, that we have a reminder for folks to put agenda. And if I remember, it was, for example, on Friday, and if there's no topics, we cancel the meeting. I will propose that we do something similar, maybe not that strict. For example, we do it on Monday. Like if there's no agenda items by Monday, end of the day, someone in the UI time zone Tuesday, if the meeting stays the same day, cancels the meeting, and we don't have meeting that day if the agenda is empty. I think that's probably the best way forward because, it allows you to plan if you have meeting or not. We don't do it last minute, and we still don't meet if we don't have anything to discuss.
Except that we also have the regular updates on the sub projects, but we could move them to specific on point items if we need to.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, and especially I think it's if we're canceling the meetings because of lack of agenda items, then I also would appreciate like knowing beforehand and not just doing it like last minute or so.
I would just say for what Adolfo mentioned, I would make an informal or maybe formal rule that we can't cancel 2 meetings in the row, so that we at least meet bi-weekly. But so we skip 1 week, but we don't skip the next week or something like that, so that we at least do the regular updates at some cadence.
Yeah, that would make sense. So that way we can still have the regular updates, and then unless there's something important, or probably we could also discuss like pairing the cadence also to the point of in the release life cycle. So if we're getting closer to release, maybe we still keep the regular weekly meetings in order to discuss whatever comes up.
And we can also do ASAC updates on Slack, like someone creates a thread if you skip the meeting and like we post the updates that we have.
Yeah, I think that makes sense to me. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Right. Any other comments around meeting cadence?
Just as for my understanding, like, are we going to do some sort of like survey about do we keep this meeting time, or do we change it, or how are we going to proceed?
I think we can keep it as is and just follow the rule you suggested of not canceling 2 in a row, but enforcing a review of agenda items and a reminder beforehand. I think maybe a reminder on Friday would be good, and then Monday we can do a check of the agenda and see if it is empty, and then make the call then. If it's a week, if we haven't canceled 2 in a row. Does that make
Sounds
sense?
good. Yep.
Sounds good.
Okay. I'll take that as an action item and set it on my calendar.
And with that said, related topic, someone should cancel the meeting for week of KubeCon if it is not canceled.
Yes.
And we might want to see, like, if you want to cancel, like, Easter is coming up, and like, if you want to cancel a week before or week after KubeCon, we should see. Because like folks are going to be busy. I know that I'm going to be quite busy, so yeah, prior to KubeCon. So yeah, it might make sense to give folks time.
Okay.
Right. So can you can cancel those, Jeremy?
Yes, I can. I have access to the calendar.
Okay, nice. All right. So next up is a topic from Marco, session about SIG release tooling.
Yeah. Just as an FYI, I will be doing a session about the SIG release tooling at the Contributor Summit. So if you're interested in that thing, I plan like to talk about our different tools, like how do we handle images, like how we can publish to registry cases, IO, how do we handle packages. It's 25-minute session, so I don't expect it to go like too much technical in depth, but it is going to be a great reference for like sub projects who are interested to like publish their artifacts, because those questions are coming up relatively like frequently, and it would be nice to like explain a little bit how is it going under the scenes. And that's the plan for that session. And yeah, if you're interested into that kind of thing, if you have any feedback about like what I should mention in the session, and like what should I cover, anything especially that you would like to see, please reach out to me and let me know. And that's mostly it.
Sure, I'll have some feedback for you, and especially about upcoming plans for some of those tools. But
That
yeah,
would be great.
let's discuss during the week. Right. Any questions for Marco about that, about the session? All right. Okay, next up, next agenda item is from Arno, VEX document for releases.
Yeah, there was an issue open a while ago about generate VEX document during the release process. So I'm curious about if there's like any traction on this.
Yeah, there have been, well, anybody wants to give some context? Because I have some, which may not be the latest one, but I have some. All right.
Go for it. I
so-
don't think anything's happened since the last time we talked.
Exactly. So this is a joint effort, and it's part of a bigger effort to revamp the way we publish CV information in Kubernetes. So right now the plan is to open 3 KEPs. I don't have the documents at hand, but the idea is there's going to be some work about creating a tool to generate some documents about the CVEs and other vulnerabilities that come up in Kubernetes. The idea is to have one single document that travels through the life cycle of that disclosure. So when someone reports a vulnerability, the the PRC creates that document, and that document flows, and we incorporate it into the releases, and then we also generate VEX from that if we need to. So that's the tool to generate those. Then we need to update our release tooling to ingest those documents and publish what we do today with a custom YAML that we made up. The idea would be to move that. The idea would be that that document is based on the VS format from the OpenSF. And I forget what the third track was. I think it was a feed. I don't remember. So the idea would be one VEX feed would be coming from that analysis that the SRC does on the when disclosing, and the other one would be creating a mechanism so that maintainers from the different SIGs can also create those statements based on third-party dependencies. So for example, if Kubernetes is pulling a library that has a vulnerability in it, but we know that Kubernetes is not affected by it, using a new mechanism, people would be able to express in an issue that Kubernetes is not affected, then we would collect those and incorporate those into the feed. That's the current plan. There is a document floating around. I'll try to find it and maybe link it here in the agenda. And I think PJ from SIG Security has already a demo on the tool to create the information. So probably we'll be seeing a demo very soon, I hope.
Okay, I will check with SIG Security.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the discussions about those have been going on in the SIG Security tooling meetings, and sometimes carrying them over to this meeting. So yeah, I would join the next one. I think the next one is going to be in 2 weeks. I think they moved it to Mondays. So 2 weeks from now is going to be the next one. Right. Any questions about the the bugs project or the new security feed? All right. If not, has anybody has any other topics that they want to discuss or bring? Otherwise, we can give people a few minutes back. All right. Hearing none, I'm gonna bring down the big gavel of early meeting finish. All right. It was really nice to see everyone. We'll be in Slack, and otherwise see you next week if there
Bye,
are
folks.
topics on the agenda.
Bye bye.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.